Okay, all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez, absent. Councilman Cypress.
Here.
Councilman Larka.
Here.
Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
Supervisor Hay.
Here. Notation exits in the front and the rear. An electronic device, please put it on vibrate. We're going to start tonight with a public hearing for Partners Management, 988 Route 22, special permit. I can make a motion to open the public hearing and waive the reading of the notice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the cards in order?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Mr. Lansky?
Good
Just announce
evening.
yourself so everyone knows.
Bart Lansky, 988 Route 22. I reside at 28 Ridgeway, Purdy's, New York, 10578. And Partners Management LLC is the applicant. We are referring to what many know as the Bull and Barrel and previous Shortinos. There are two tax lots, 988 Route 22 itself, and then across the street there's 13 Argonne Road, which is an item 4 parking area under common ownership. The parcel 988 isn't showing much in the way of changes, just some additional ADA, some striping, and we're looking to have a crosswalk in accordance with the recommendations from the highway superintendent, so people can traverse Argonne Road safely. And then on the Argonne Road parcel, it has been somewhat unimproved for a number of years. We're looking to push the parking a little bit further back into the hill, so we're out of the right-of-way. There's a significant town right-of-way there, of course, as in on all their roads. And so about 2 to 3 feet of grade will be taken out of the hill so that most of the parking's out of the right-of-way, not all of it gets out of it. And then to delineate the spots, we'll be doing 4x4 posts with solar caps and allowing people to park in between those. So there's a little bit more delineation over there. And then the rest of those are the only real changes, except there are some existing parking spots on 988 Route 22, which are pretty tight and in the right of way. And for those existing spaces, we're just going to sign them as for compact cars only and try to make it as safe as possible. That's the nature of the proposal. I had the opportunity to speak to a couple of the neighbors over the weekend. They received my notice. And essentially, in terms of neighbors, the Argonne parcel goes from bridge to bridge. The MTA bridge on Allview, up to the I-84 bridge, essentially. And in that span there, I have 4 primary neighbors. The Italian American Club directly behind me. Across the street, we have the building that Mr. Arbiter owns, which has the pharmacy and the Levine Auto Parts. And then we have another commercial plaza there, which is known as 979 to 989. And I spoke with representatives of those 3 parcels, and what I learned was there have been times in the past with the Bull and Barrel and with Shortinos where overflow parking goes onto their properties. And during the many years that Mr. Shortino operated over there, when there was overflow, he was gracious about it. He'd come by and make sure everything was clean, and he'd occasionally drop off a pizza or something like that, and it worked. Everyone was neighbors. The previous tenants over there, which operated as the Bull and Barrel, were not as gracious as Mr. Shortino. So they expressed that to me very clearly. In this application, we're renting only 5,000 square feet of the 20,000-foot building. The remaining, we have programmed as retail space so that we meet, at this time, the parking requirement. 94 spots are required, 94 spots are provided. But the conversation we had was they want everyone to be neighbors again and for it to be gracious. And if there is an imposition at some point in time, that it's dealt with accordingly. And I understand that. And the difference going forward is that this will be a multi-tenant building. And so landlord will be in charge of parking, which is essentially me, which means they'll have somebody to call. They won't have to get in an argument with a couple bouncers outside of a bar. There'll be somebody who's responsible. So we're not looking for zoning variances on parking. We are improving what we have there. And I think we have, what I understood was a way to go forward with the neighbors so that there's good relations.
I do have one question. We'll call it the High Bridge. How much do you own going up to the High Bridge? Your parking does not go under the High Bridge?
No, it doesn't go under the High Bridge. We were just inside bridge to bridge, and if you look at this map, it tapers as you get towards the end. So it's kind of like a smile and gets narrower at the end because of the right-of-way.
That sounds like more like a frown than a smile.
Well, let's hope it's more like a smile.
Now there's supposed to be signs there. I've gone by there, many times. I'm not sure if the signs are still there, but there's a town ordinance. There's no parking from like under the bridge to a certain area there. So we're going to make sure those are posted as well. Not your responsibility, but there's an area there where they're not supposed to park by law.
Okay,
don't know if you're
I'm
aware of
happy
that.
to coordinate with that. There is one sign shown not on property of applicant here for the crosswalk. The architect of record was using the manual for crosswalk signs of where they needed to be, and that's placed in the right-of-way in front of the Italian American Club, and I asked their representative whether there was an issue with it, and they had no issue with it.
Okay. I just want to, again, make you aware that once the bridge abutment starts in that area, there's areas there that cannot be parked. But that's, again, if someone parks there, that's their problem, not yours.
Yep, and I don't believe we're showing parking on our site plan in those areas.
No, I don't think you would be. Okay. Public comment, please.
You want me to move this around so it can be seen better?
You can. You just
I
have
don't
to
know if
look.
we have anyone here for this application.
Anyone here this evening to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing
I
and
have
leave
a
written
question.
comment open for 5 days. You have one?
Yeah, I have a
Sorry.
question. So, I know from doing prior enforcement in that area, it's pretty unlit at night, especially on the Argonne, side. Are there any plans for additional lighting that's not going to create a light pollution?
Well, on the Argonne parcel, we're going to have solar caps, and so we're going to have 40 some odd of those. They don't produce a lot of lumens, but that'll add some lighting there to help people get in and out of their cars. In the past year, when the property's been vacant, we've upgraded the light fixtures on the building, and I don't know if you've looked at them recently. They're still full cutoff and in accordance with the planning board requirements, but there are more lumens to them. And so I think particularly you'll see on the Argonne parcel there, where we have good lighting on our property. And we go right up to the mobile. And there's pretty good lighting all through there as well. It's the biggest issue is the Argonne parcel itself. Those solar caps will add some light and be helpful, but they're not going to do a great job of lighting that entire thing. I don't have electric service over there, and there's a whole bunch of other issues incumbent with lighting that.
What's a solar cap?
So I'm going to put 4x4 posts, and there'll be little solar lights.
And like on a deck? Like
Yeah.
those-
You can see like right here. Yeah.
And those are included in the plan?
Yeah, those are included in the plan. So
Okay.
that's the actual solar cap proposed.
Okay, so if they die in a few years, you'd have to
Replace them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as the crosswalk itself, it's going to be in your conversation with the highway superintendent, it's to be a standard crosswalk. Is there going to be like, I know in certain iterations around the county, there's crosswalks in dangerous areas that have solar-powered lighting to flash around.
I understand that this will have both set of signs. So we'll have signs at the crosswalk itself, which are supposed to be solar powered with the flashing lights, and then we'll have advanced warning signs. Because it has been expressed by certain people that the traffic on Argonne can be a little reckless. So it's going to be fully signed.
Yeah, it is used as a bypass to get around the traffic light, I understand, so.
Yeah. So that was a concern raised, and that was why the crosswalk came into existence and why we have those signs shown.
Okay, thank you.
Can you, whereabouts is that cross, so you said down by the,
So this, if you can see it on the plan right here.
Yeah, I got the code.
If you know from Argonne Road, there's a side door there, and that's the proposed entryway to go to the second floor. And so right in front of that is where that there's some existing cross hatching. That's where the crosswalk is going to go, and that's almost on center for the Argonne parcel.
Now, the only thing is the way the sign is shown here, it's like in the middle of nowhere. Is that only how are you going to stop people from crashing into it, backing into it? It's like,
The one opposite the building.
well, by the crosswalk,
So I think the sign locations are in accordance with the New York State DOT manual. And I had this conversation with the architect. I preferred that not to be there because we have a lot of big trucks that pull off the road there. We got snow and other things happening there. But from what I understand, we're supposed to have those right near that crosswalk, and then two others which are offset as advance warnings. I would much prefer not to have one on that side of the street, and I'll ask the question again to see if we can do away with that one, because it's going to be a problem
yeah, because I can see people backing into it in 2 seconds.
all day long. And if I can't get rid of it in accordance with the manual, then I'll have to put a lolly column on it and reinforce it somewhat, make it bright
They put
yellow.
stones there and they're going to move it.
Something to mitigate, but I'm hoping that there's a way to get rid of it and still be in conformance.
Now, I've seen them where they have them, where they put them actually in the road. Would that be allowable, or is it too busy a road to do that? They have signs literally, like I see in the Village of Brewster, it says crosswalk, and they put it right there in the middle.
So on 6N in Mayapack, there was a period of time, I have a building there where we did a crosswalk across the state road. And there was, the town put that in the middle of the road, and they replaced it 6 or 7 times and then stopped replacing it.
That's all, okay. Okay. Public comment. Sir, come up to the mic, please. Sir, you have to come up to the mic and just give your name for the record, please. And then pick it up on the tape.
Nick Durante,
Your name,
Brewster Hill
please?
Road. Nick Durante,
Okay.
Brewster Hill Road. I think part of the issue is that the parking lot and Aragon Road are like one piece.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to distinguish where the parking lot ends and if they just put a sign right in the middle of the road, maybe they should try to work on trying to isolate the parking lot itself.
Well, you really can't there, as you know, it runs along the railroad. Right now, it's very close to the road, but
I'm talking on the other side of the road where the building is.
Okay.
Because you come out of there, it's just right into the road. There's no,
Curb.
there's no curbing, there's no identification that their parking lot ends,
Well, he pointed that out earlier, that along the back of the building, there's like 4 or 5 spaces, which they're gonna put compact cars, but,
I think he's talking about here, John.
Yeah, a little further towards the mobile
Here.
station.
This is Argonne, this is all just pavement.
And that would make those signs more,
But the crosswalk's gonna be down by the building.
by the building itself.
yeah.
Okay.
You gotta come up to answer.
Yeah.
I mean, in a newer site plan, if it wasn't a pre-existing condition, we would naturally limit the ingress and egress. But these older properties, which along this road, it's all curb cut. And I think that's what his point is that people come in and out willy-nilly. And that's been this way here for 80 years. If I put a curb in there, it's going to get run over all day long, and there's going to be accidents on that. We have a number of people who've been here in this community a long time who have their habits, and I'm not going to change it with a curb.
Do you have any intentions of eventually, right now, you say it's, what is it, item 4, it gets
Item
very
4.
muddy and everything. Are you planning on paving it at some point, seeking authorization, or put millings down?
Well, I'm a big fan of millings, but that said,
Because how are you going to mark the spaces? You
Well,
say
we're,
you got
we're
X
we're
number-
putting those 4x4 posts, and we're gonna ask people to park in between them, and we'll sign those. And so that'll give us our space dimensions. So I'm putting in 40 some odd 4x4 posts over there to create the spaces and to give a place to do those solar caps.
So every,
Every space will be demarcated with those
so there's,
posts.
at the end of each parking, there's a
Yeah.
post, and they're
Yeah.
going to have those lights on.
Yep.
They're gonna have these signs, these little arrows.
And they'll have some sign, I think those little arrows are probably for the crosswalk. But they'll, it'll all be signed, and that'll be much clearer than it is today. It won't be perfect.
And to John's point about lighting, I think there's a few light poles across the back of that, on that side of the road, is there not?
There are a couple of, I don't know if they're lights, though. I think we have some electric poles.
You could ask to have lights installed.
That's an
That could be,
interesting,
that could be helpful.
Especially for the crosswalk.
I had not thought of talking to, is that NICEAG
Yes.
that would possibly do that for us?
Because I got called out last night to a private condominium complex, and I told them it has nothing to do with the town, nothing, it's all with the property owner. So if there's like 2 posts, I don't know where the light poles are located, but say you had 2 or 3 along that stretch.
I got at least
You
3.
could buy your own LED type thing, get permission to put up, there'll be a meter to run them, but it could be beneficial.
And with the LEDs today,
It's not crazy. It's an interesting idea to explore. I'd like to continue with my application as it is.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's
the-
gonna give out a certain amount, but you could get a lot brighter area. I mean, these posts out here, when I come down here at nighttime, this place is lit up like a Christmas tree, and actually helps out in the road when you're turning.
I'm sure your planning consultant didn't approve that.
Okay. Okay, we continued public comment. Is there anyone else who would like to add anything else at this point in time? Okay, so I'm going to entertain a motion to close the public hearing and leave the public comment open for 5 days in this case.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It'll be on the agenda for the September 8th meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, I make a motion to go in the work session portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first discussion will be volunteer park. Eric Cypress, you asked to put this on the agenda?
Yep, yeah, I asked to put this on the agenda because a couple of people have reached out with some concerns about the field at Volunteer Park. And I just wanted to put it on the agenda to let anybody come and share those concerns with us. I think you guys might be, so.
Okay, if you want to just, gentlemen, come up this way here and come to the mic and speak to whatever you'd like to speak to.
And obviously, we're not deciding or doing anything tonight. I just wanted to, officially hear what the concerns were.
No problem. Sure. My name is Mike Tucker. I'm one of the Little League coaches and a coach for the travel team for Brewster, the 14U and 13U. Our main issues at the field are there's lack of maintenance at Zimmer at Volunteer Park. Mount Ebo, there's people there 3 times a week doing maintenance on it. There's issues with the field itself. There's lack of clay on the infield, which has caused drainage. There's no drainage, so the water after a rainstorm puddles up between second and third base over toward first base and down between third base and home plate for days. I'm talking 4 or 5 days. We have to go there on our own, dig trenches to try to get the water to drain off. So we cancel games, practices. If we do get some of the water off of there, we try to play, it becomes a hazard, safety hazard for the kids. There's an issue with where we need more clay added to the field because it became, where the outfield grass starts, it became a hill. It literally jumps up about 6 inches because the clay is all packed underneath the sod, underneath the grass, and then it slopes down for about 2 to 3 feet, which it all needs to be cut out behind there and graded down and added in. running bases between first and third, home and first, and third and home, it's literally a ditch in there. The infield grass around the pitcher's mound has bumps in it all over the place. My son, for instance, was playing third base. The ball took a bad hop, whacked him right in the mouth, and he had blood everywhere. We were playing another team, same thing happened, the kid took one right to the forehead. The netting going down the right field side, it's literally falling down, and we have it zip tied to the fence on our own. The backstop, it's the backstop where it meets the ground behind home plate, it's all curled up. We had it on our own, we went there with zip ties, pushed it down so balls don't go underneath it. It's basically, there's a lot of lack of maintenance at that field. My feeling is, because of its location, it's out of sight, out of mind out there. Like I said, Ebo, everybody drives past Ebo all the time. So towns guys are always there working, whether it's, you know, cutting the grass, raking the field, making it look all pretty. And Zimmer, it's like the bastard child, and it's just left on its own. There's a lot of improvements that needs. There's a concrete building there. From what I understand, that cost $90,000. It was built, and it just sits there locked up, nothing done with it. Electric meter on it, there's no water. I guess there was supposed to be a bathroom put in there. There's a garage there, garage door. Who knows what's in it, it's all locked up. Graffiti was put on it, now we lock the gates on it, so when you leave, lock it, nobody can get in. There was damage to the upper field too from that, but the main thing is we need to get clay in there and get it safe there for the kids to play on it before someone gets hurt really bad, worse than, you know, bloody lip and a couple loose teeth. It's very dangerous.
You know, I've been to many meetings. I've been here quite a while, and the fields, I mean, we have a contract with the Little League, and I've heard a few complaints, only even recently.
Right.
I just don't know why the communication hasn't been there prior to that. I've not heard that. We have our recreation people here tonight, but they're not here for that in particular, I don't believe. So I don't know what happened with the communication. We'll look into what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to make any comment.
I'm happy to, actually. When was the last time you were there?
Kathy, come up and introduce yourself.
You were there?
Actually, it's been a few weeks. 'Cause we haven't had
Just,
it.
wait, time out. Hey,
Okay.
time out. Kathy,
Sure.
please. Come up to the
Yes.
mic, identify who you are to
Yep.
the public so they know, and
Okay.
then comment so we can all hear it.
Sure. It's Kathy Chudina, Recreation Leader, Town of Southeast. Okay. We've actually been doing work up there.
Okay.
We've had an extensive amount of, I'm sorry, I can pass this around to everyone. We've had an extensive amount of clay put in. He's been cutting back the lip. So he's been actually doing quite a bit of work down there. He's reset the bases.
Okay.
So I mean, he does go up there a couple times a week
Yeah.
to do all that stuff. Sometimes when there's multiple games going on, it's very difficult to put in that extra amount of work that's needed. But he's now we're on a lull, so he's been putting a lot of work up there,
Okay.
trying to get that all
Okay.
taken care of. And we do know there's a drainage issue, and I've been speaking with,
That's a big deal.
I've been speaking with the highway department, trying to figure out a way to fix that there and at Scolpino, the first field. So.
Now, as far as those buildings, we contracted out, it's been there almost 2 to 3 years. There's a development going in up there, what's that called, Terravis? A senior project going in, and it's to the point now, they've allowed us to tap into their well. And because of the cost of going here to there, and with the sewer, which is another item, it's been on the agenda for a while. So the problem, it's not a problem, the issue is, if we do it now, we're gonna have a double cost at this point in time. They're almost ready to the point where we can hook up directly to their well. Right now, we'd have to go to their well, we'd have to hook up the well to use it partially. So probably for next year, I'm almost guaranteed that it's gonna be done. Because by then, the actual development will be underway. They'll have the pumps in the wells. And I've talked to Mike Burdick today, they've given us permission now to go down the line for the sewer. The one thing that really ticks me off with a lot of our fields, and it's just people in general, I guess, these days, with the graffiti. You know, everyone busts their chops. And then in the old days, you know, prior to games, you guys still do that? Like, you usually go up like an hour before and help out getting the fields ready? But for the, you know,
Sometimes longer.
we've
2
had,
or 3
the
hours
past
before.
couple of years, the communications is not there. As a matter of fact, I never got to sign contract last year with the Little League. So the communication is just not there. I mean, we're here, we'll listen, but, you know, I have not heard anything. So
Right.
we're hearing it tonight. I know there's an effort to keep them, I mean, I'm telling you right now, they're a lot better than they used to be. I mean, about 2 years ago, I kind of put my foot down, especially up around the Tenell Lake Park area with that little, you know, ball field for them. I mean, they are a second child sometime. So they're getting better. There's more improvement to be done, and we'll work on it.
All right. Yeah, my thing too is, you know, Zimmer could be a beautiful park over there if it was just taken care of. And it's a beautiful space up there. And if you get the electric up there and stuff later on in the future, lights, I mean, that
Well,
would be awesome.
the lights
I'm
don't
saying in the
count on
future.
much.
I'm saying in the future.
Yeah.
You
No,
know, it
but
could be a beautiful park.
I know, but the problem with the lights is there's going to be development up there and lights. We've had this one up here,
Yeah.
but not going to say it can't be done, but you will get big pushback on it.
Right.
Tony, you mentioned the water and sewer. What's the status on the electric?
Electric's there.
There's a service there?
There's electric there.
Yeah.
There's a meter box mounted right on the building with
Yeah.
the meter in it, and it's,
Yeah, and someone mentioned to me if once there's water that will help retain the clay, I guess, that it gets dusty without being watered and just goes away in the air, basically. I don't know if that's true or not.
yeah, if it gets dusty, yes, you wet it down and stuff, that helps out. But the problem is, we have too much water there. 'Cause it
That's,
doesn't
yeah,
drain.
rainwater, not, you know,
Doesn't drain.
yeah.
The other thing I was gonna bring up, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not to ask, but, Ace Endico is moving the road up there. They're building a new town road and abandoning it, and then we're gonna take that over, but they're up there doing the work. And I believe they built that field.
No.
And
Which-
Did,
No, he's going to go there.
but the people doing the work did, maybe?
No,
No?
no, it was done a long time ago. Harold Upper was pretty much responsible for doing that.
Yeah, I
Those
thought he was,
donations.
okay, either way, there's, I think, a construction company up there, and I wonder if we ask them to look at the drainage, and maybe give us a bid, since they have all their equipment there right now. You know, we could decline it, but I don't think it'll hurt to ask.
I mean, we can ask our highway superintendent, I don't know, has he been involved up there recently?
I've been talking to him, I mean, nothing definite, but he knows that it's on our list to do, that we would like to do it this, after the season's over this fall.
Okay.
And what about the net? Someone told me that a lot of cars break, their windshields break up there.
Yeah, there's a net along
Is
the
that
right
from-
field line,
Yes.
that the poles go up 20, 25 feet, and the net is literally ripped down.
Yes.
And now it's just, we took it, because it was, because it was all dangling down stuff, and zip tied it to the chain link fence.
Well, I'll call Mike tomorrow, they got a bucket truck, we'll go up there and see if that can,
Well,
Yeah.
we need I ordered the grommets, we need the grommets for it, to make sure that the stuff came in. They were on back order for a while, but I just spoke to BSN and they're supposed to come in, so.
do you say when? I mean, everything's on back order in the world today, but how long?
I honestly don't remember, I'd have to check with the guy
Well-
tomorrow.
Is that
But
the,
I would say within the next, week or two, we should have them.
Okay.
is that the only thing that's causing the balls to go back, or is it just the net, or is there somebody, I think somebody told me there was something else? Or
Well,
no?
the backstop,
Okay.
the fencing on the backstop, it's all curled up, and basically we pushed it down and zip tied it to try
Okay.
to hold it. But I mean, really, it needs to be dug out behind it and fencing put down, and then the dirt back over it to hold it
Okay.
on there. I mean, all those little repairs is stuff those coaches were doing to try to.
Well,
make
in the
everything
future,
happen, so.
ask, I mean, what's what's his last name?
Rich Anderson.
Anderson.
Yeah, that one I wasn't aware of, but I'll definitely have the guys take a look at that.
I mean, we've always had a line of communication, but like I said, I never even got a signed contract for this year.
Okay.
So just, our phones are available. If you make us aware of it,
Yeah.
we could do more. I mean, I haven't heard about it until about maybe a month ago with the water up there. And the drainage up there is very, very poor because they blasted up there to do this development. They've been blasting it probably for 2 years, for God's sakes, because of all the rock there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how far you're gonna go down before you're gonna run into a problem with the drainage, but that's something to be looked at.
The upper field's not a problem with the water, it's the lower field.
Okay.
So
And it could be
And it's
pitched,
only that one side, really,
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
the
it could be
problem is.
pitched right with the clay, the right mixture of clay and soil and. it
And
could
that's
be
another
pitched.
thing, I don't remember, we built all those clay bins, they're there. I mean, at some point, we have to kind of rejuvenate it and order more, and again, the Little League is responsible for partially payment of some of them, but we haven't ordered clay in forever. But I still have a lot of clay still there, all the fields.
Yeah, there's still some there. I mean, we've used wheelbarrows here and there to fill in some spots.
Okay, well, if there's a need for clay, I mean, you guys are pretty much in charge of that, in the sense they tell me, and we, order it, but I haven't ordered it in quite a while.
Okay. Yeah,
So is
I'm
that
not on the
some-
board, the Little League board, but.
There's a line of communication,
Okay.
just talk to Rich, ask him, what happened with the communication line. I mean, if they don't ask, we don't know.
Mhm.
So don't hate to hear about it after the fact, but we'll do what we can.
Yeah. Okay.
Paul, did you want to add anything
Very good.
officially?
Yeah.
or-
Hi, my name is Paul Daniele. My son plays Little League. I was there. I witnessed some of these, made some of these observations myself. One other one I'd like to add is to protect the health and safety of the children during either really hot days, there's no shade. Dugouts might also be considered of some type.
Yeah, it was asked, we plan to do that next year, which Kathy just advised me. You want to know some history? I played, not there, but at the Electric Zone Field in 1957 in the Little League.
Oh,
So,
okay.
don't want to show my age, but I played there, and we moved to Markel that year. My last year in Little League, I was 12 years old, we went to Markel. So I've watched it grow, and that was the only field we had at the time. So it's come a long ways. It still could have a long way to go, but we didn't plan very well back when. But they did identify that I guess you just have like wire, and there's no roof on it. We plan to do something there. I was just told that recently. Because again, when you sit under the hot sun, trust me, it's not fun.
Yeah, and that and the elements too, right? There's
Rain.
severe thunder and lightning and rain events.
We're doing the budget now. Kathy came in, what, Wednesday? One day this week. I've been doing budget, and each one's coming in, identifying their needs, and we're getting ready to prepare the budget, and we're listening.
Great,
I'll report that to the board when I do my budget.
great, awesome.
Thank you,
Okay?
guys.
Fantastic.
Again,
Thank you guys for.
let us
Thank you.
know,
Thank
don't,
you, ladies and
don't
gentlemen.
get to the point where it's bad. We're here to work with you.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll write the board a letter and just document, the types of things.
Yes.
That we'd like, and, maybe if you would consider, a conceptual plan or design cost estimate, so to speak, to really do the project correctly.
Now, how's that gonna happen?
I can propose that in a letter to you.
Okay, but you're asking us to do that.
Well, no, would the board be open to soliciting RFPs?
Oh, yes.
For
I mean,
these,
but are you gonna tell us what you want solicited?
Well, I could develop develop the scope of work and then,
Okay, send us what you have,
Sure.
and we will work with you.
sure, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Peter Bell, Code Enforcement Officer for Southeast. I have been looking and driving around all the parks for the last 3 months. And the biggest thing that I see is that they're underutilized tremendously. They were talking about the upper field is better than the lower field, yet I haven't seen anybody play on the upper field yet.
Because you don't work at the right hours.
Well, I was told that the lower field is I don't know this, but a regulation size field.
I
and
think
the
they're
upper one
talking
is-
about footage to the
Yeah.
outfield and everything else like that.
Right.
I think that's what the problem is with Scalpino, is that the two fields are too short for these size kids. But
Well, they're Little League fields, and Little League has regulations, and once you go to, well, I used to call Pony League, I don't know what they call it these days, but the next league, the bases go from 60 to 90.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to call it a major league field, but I think it goes from 270 to it's supposed to be 300 to left to right, do you know? And I think ours is 270, so when they built the field, it was already 30 feet too short, especially
Right.
in the left field line. And
Right, and I
that was
think-
my power hour, believe it or not. I got the ball if I could roll it there. I was lucky.
Yeah, because I think that the two in Scalpino are only large enough, the 200 feet.
So it's 270 on the
Little League
upper
and
one, on the
softball.
lower one, I don't know what the upper one is. But they're definitely eligible for Little League, and the Major League is the bigger one, which is the lower one. Is that correct, you think? Or can the upper one be used for Major League as, well, I call it Major League.
Only the lower one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that there should be more utilization.
Well, there
of our
could be,
park.
but it's tough. It's a long way to go. Not, kids that age don't have cars. They gotta wait for the parents to come home.
Yeah.
So it's used a bunch. And like I say, they're there when we're not. When I leave work, whatever, I go down by the Little League field and they're
Yeah, but
utilized
I've
every
been
night.
going through there every weekend for the last 3 months.
Well, weekends a little bit different. It's they I won't say do tournaments, but it's just, again, Little League has a certain season, and then they have a travel team, and other people want to use the fields, whatever. They're utilized the best they can.
Yeah, I just think that they're wonderful parks, they're beautiful parks, and the residents should use them more.
Well, they can.
One more question on this topic, and maybe it's for you guys or maybe it's for you. Someone mentioned, and I don't know anything about this, I wasn't a big baseball guy when I was younger, but there was there's a difference between grass infields and clay infields, and is clay infields for softball?
That's correct.
Okay, is that an issue?
Kathy, come up so everyone here, please.
So in my conversations with Little League, they don't prefer the upper field because it bounces the ball.
Because it's a clay infield?
No, because it's a grass infield.
Oh,
They
okay.
prefer the clay infield because the ball comes at you more consistently. So when you're on the grass, it doesn't happen as well. But as they get older, they don't have a choice.
Okay.
One of the things that we're going to be doing in the spring is rolling the infield, to try to smooth some of that out. Hopefully that will help. We did add fencing to the upper field because it was short on one side. Little League had requested that, so we did do that as well, just to try to make the field playable for them, because the reason they weren't playing on it originally was because of the fence.
Right.
But now it's because the infield is a little rough.
And just one more question, but
Sure.
If you have grass infields, is it easier to maintain because you don't need as much clay? It sounds like clay is an issue. No?
No, it's really not a difference. When you have the grass infields, you tend to get more of the bowling in like the baselines and stuff, because with the kids running, that kind of thing, so it does make it a little more difficult.
Okay. Thank you.
We are at Scalpino going to be changing it over so we can have 40-60 and 50-70 though, over there, which will be for both baseball and softball.
Changing over the baseline?
Yes, the back is already like that, but we'll be adjusting the front field with pulling back the grass so that it's at the proper distance and everything. I spoke to Rich Anderson about that and told him we were doing that.
Okay.
I've already ordered the equipment for it.
Okay, awesome.
So-
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else on this topic? Okay, item number 2 is discussion, Village of Bristol Markel Park. Mayor Schoening has asked to have that put in toward public comment at the end of the meeting, so we'll do it at that point in time. I'll make a motion to go into the regular portion of the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Waive the reading of the correspondence.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve of the voucher list, $1,044,356.60. So move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Recommend, make a motion to waive the reading of the budget transfers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Setting of meeting dates. All meetings, oh, I wonder what happened to Will. This is not gonna be good. Anyway, okay. All meetings will be held at 1360 Route 22, Brewster, New York, at 7 PM unless otherwise noted. Thursday, September 8th, 2022, and Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
While I'm there, I'd like to make a motion to set a public hearing to amend in Chapter 131 of Vehicle and Traffic Law, Article 2, Parking and Standing for the September 8th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 5, it's a resolution, the audit of the Justice Court records. Now therefore it be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Southeast hereby accepts the report and examination of the Town of Southeast Justice Courts for the period ending December 31, 2021, and certifies that the requirements of Section 2019-A have been fulfilled. And be further resolved that the town clerk is directed to enter a copy of this resolution into the minutes of this meeting and to forward a certified copy of this resolution together with a copy of the report dated August 3, 2022, to Daniel Johnson, Chief Internal Auditor, New York State Unified Court System, 2500 Pondview, Suite LL01, Castleton on the Hudson, New York, 12033. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 6, a resolution guardian veterinary specialist establishes a performance bond. Now therefore be resolved that the bond amount shall be established for the project set forth below. Project name, guardian veterinary specialist. Bond amount, site improvements, $1,776,000. Soil and erosion restoration, $21,000. And be further resolved that the town clerk shall forward a certified copy of the foregoing resolution to the planning board secretary forthwith. Is there anyone to second?
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 7, resolution, Delaware Engineering, DPC, Engineering Services and Water Wastewater Design and Operational Evaluation. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to execute and deliver a certain professional service agreement dated August 19, 2022 to Delaware Engineering, DPC, the contractor, to retain the services of the contractor for the purpose of providing engineering services in connection with the review of physical and operating needs of the town's several water and wastewater districts in the town of Southeast. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 8, supervisor's report. Okay, I'm now in the midst of budget hearings. I've completed about half of them. Things are going pretty well so far. There's some requests more so this year than in the past. Not a lot. You heard, the Little League here this evening. Kathy's asked for certain things for next year. Levon's here this evening. He's going to be coming in next week with his. His is probably the biggest of the ones. Kathy's takes the second longest, or longest. And all the other departments have reported in, and things are good. Revenues are under projection, which is good. And the budget's good. Good. We're in good shape.
Good to hear.
Okay. Recognition of public comment.
So I'm going to ask that we do executive session.
Okay, Jim, would you come up to the mic, if you don't mind? You can come up too. Yeah. I'd want you to hold my hand because I'd be nervous now. Okay. Town attorney kind of sent me the rules of open meetings law, which we all seem to know. As you're aware, just so the public is aware, the Little League field at Markel, I always say it well, Markel is being transferred over to the Village of Brewster beginning the 29th. Originally, the notification to town was the 22nd. Like I said, I played down Electric Zone Field back in 1957. That was the first year they moved up to the Markel Park. And so we've had it since 1957, and it's now going to be turned over to the village. So I believe the mayor is going to be giving us some details on that. So we will allow a portion it to go into executive session. However, normally we say no action will be taken. I don't know if any action will be taken, so when we go, if and when we go into executive session, when we come out, we are going to make some kind of a public comment and statement of somewhat of what's discussed that we're allowed to release to the public that's not confidential.
That's fine. It's contractual, so.
Well, maybe not everything, but we have to come back and say something because people are interested.
That's fine.
That's just the way we do things. So, so at any rate, how long do you think you need?
10 minutes?
Okay. So within 15 minutes or thereabouts, if you want to wait to hear whatever we have to say after that, you're welcome to stay. Then after we're done that, I'm going to go into executive session with the board on another matter with contractual matter. And,
So you say,
pardon?
so you say.
And that'll take, and there'll be no action taken on that one. But at this point in time, now, if we go into executive session, do you want our two recreation people here as well?
Yeah, that's
hopefully?
fine. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, I want to make a motion to go into executive session for contractual matter with the village possibly, and ask that Kathy and Patty stay. And the rest, if you sit outside for 10, maybe 15 minutes, we'll have you back in again.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, make a motion to come out of the executive session and make an announcement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the town went into executive session at the request of the Village of Brewster. We really had no idea of what was to be said and asked of the town. As I stated, I think before going to executive session, the town has Markel Park, which we've had for well over 70 years, and is licensed by the New York City DEP for the past 70 years. They charge approximately, I don't know, $100 and something as a licensing fee. We also have Electric Zone Field. They own a lot of land here in the town. So Markel Park was licensed to the town of Southeast for, again, 70-plus years. There's renovation going on soon in the Village of Brewster. As you all know, there's a big plan to revitalize the Village of Brewster. And there was a deal made with the DEP to kind of swap lands with the village. They're going to get certain things in the village and certain things that are still in the village, but the town had used and had a license for. So the town is losing that license. That license is going to be, no, not the license, the land will be transferred to the Village of Brewster. So during executive session, we were notified that the village would like to work in unison with the town, the future, how that park will be maintained and run, and we will express an interest in having them formalize some kind of contract. And going back to that as well, we owned Wells Park and still own it. And we leased it to the Village of Brewster in 2014, gave them a 5-year lease and 4 5-year options. And that was in 2014. So we're going to be negotiating a contract based on our discussion, and we look forward to working with the village and seeing what comes forward. Now, I'm going to make a motion to close. Well, did we come out yet? Did I actually come out?
Yes.
Okay, we came out. That's what took place. I'm now going to make a motion for the town to go back into executive session for another matter, a similar matter pertaining to the ball fields, contractual matter as well, and no action will be taken at the end of that. So with that, I'll make a motion to go to
The
executive session. For that
Second.
matter. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.